Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Quantum Leap Futures Morning Leap session for Monday, March the 27th, 2017. My name is Doug McKay. I'm the founder of Quantum Leap Futures. Each morning we get together in these live go-to sessions to take a look at the market macro to micro, take a look at the structure of the market, and then drill down to our trade levels, our targets, and our hypotheses for the day. We do create 4 main hypotheses for the day. This is not to hedge our bets and say that we predicted the market. This is so that we have a plan in place. We do not know what the market's going to do. We only have to have a plan for what the market could do. Then we wait for the market to open, see who's in control, see what plan is best representative for the market, and then we execute on that plan. That way we are not trying to formulate a plan on the fly. We already have a game plan in play. This is a subscription room. If you're interested in checking out, please send me an email at quantumleapfutures@gmail.com. There's no website. There's no blog. This is not a commercial venture. This is a retail, a self-organized learning environment where a bunch of retail traders get together to learn together. Please read through the disclaimer. Nobody is a certified trader. We are retail traders operating within a self-organized learning environment. Past performance is not indicative of future results, and any trades that you see in Quantum Leap are for education purpose only. Please trade your own due diligence, your own trade plan, and your own risk metrics. Okay, so let's do the news first, because there's not a lot of news, so I just want to get that out of the way. There's no news really this morning. This afternoon, you're going to have Fed member Evans speaking. Tomorrow, we've got good trade balance and preliminary wholesale inventories, S&P CS Composite. The big one will be the CB Consumer Confidence in Richmond Manufacturing. We do have Bank of Canada Governor Pallow speaking tomorrow at 10 o'clock. And then we've got 1 o'clock, we've got Kaplan from the Fed speaking. Wednesday, we have, 10 o'clock, we've got pending homes, and we've got crude inventory, and we've got Evans speaking. So we've got a lot of Fed speakers this week. And then on Thursday, that will probably be the bigger news release day, where we've got the final GDP and the unemployment claims, natural gas, and then again, another Fed member, Kaplan, speaking. So lots of Feds every day this week. And then finally on Friday, the end of the month, we have basically personal spending, personal income, and then we've got University of Michigan consumer sentiment and inflation, and then we got cash carry. So we have a Fed speaking every week, every day this week. Taking a look at our day from Friday. Friday, we broke that low at the 32 and a quarter. Our main hypothesis on Friday was an open auction in range, a push up into the 52 to 53 area, and then rotation down towards the 38 level and the daily ATR downside target, and possibly pushing down to the week low and testing that. We came down and we didn't one ticket, but we certainly had a failed auction. The buyer stepped in. Of course, this was all on the news of the vote on the healthcare, and then when it came out and they pulled the bill from the House, we had that rally into the close, and we closed at 44. We closed at 44.75. So we ended up with a pretty messy looking profile, but the key is we did break some key levels. And so on last night when we opened, Peter and I were both trading the Globex last night. We both got short. He got a better entry than I did. He got, whoops, that's the wrong chart. He got 37, I think he said he got 37.75. I got 35 and a quarter. But, he asked me what my target was. My initial target was that CLVN at 26, and then once the 26 got breached, I said look for the further move down to 19, because we were talking about how big 19 was the next big destination down, and we'll look at that in just a couple minutes. So we've had a fairly large ATR so far. Range in the Globex overnight. And this is something I want you to pay attention to, because we said that once the ranges extend, we were compressing those average two ranges down to under 15. And usually when that happens, that's the compression before the expansion. Now we're starting to see the expansion, and you're going to find that the OTF, you can see if you look at the bottom of this chart, the OTF were very active throughout the session last night, and this is going to be something that you're going to see as we move forward this week. You're going to see that if we continue to get expansion and price discovery down, you're going to see activity in the OTF in the Globex. Last night our high was 37.50. We had a low of 17.75. So we had a range of 19.75. That's typically double the average range in the Globex. So just pay attention to this, because this is your early signs that we're getting a bigger move, or could get a bigger move, in the market. So I just want to take a step back, because each morning I like to start my day with a simple candlestick chart. I start with a monthly chart. I use a 9 EMA and a 20 SMA on all my charts. Basically what I'm doing is I'm looking for the strength of the trend in each of the time zones, because I want to be aware of where we are, and in terms of the trend in the larger time frame, so I don't get too focused on the short time frame trading. And I'm looking for slope and separation for strength of the trend, and then where the trend is being challenged or violated. Multi-year upward trend on the monthly, challenged at the end of 15, beginning of 16. They took it back in 16. Then we had this rising 3 pattern on the monthly. We talked about this while it was setting up. Then we got the continuation, and so far we've had a strong trend up in the 2017. The open of, we talked about this last week in terms of the weekly one time framing getting challenged and broken, and seeing a possible change in trend on the weekly, and the first bearish week on the weekly. Well, here we are. Our open of the month is 2373.75. I'm sorry, 2360.75. So we've got to pay attention to the fact that this could be our first. We have 5 days to go today through Friday for this market to try to get back up above the 2360.75, or it's going to be our first bearish month of the year. And as we move closer to the end of the month, we're going to be really paying attention now to critical mass, because if we kick into critical mass, we're nowhere near it yet, but if we kick into critical mass, you could see the capitulation of the buyers, and we could finally see a move back into the 2200s. So we're going to be paying close attention to that critical mass as we move closer and closer to the end of the month. Currently, though, the trend on the monthly does not get violated until we get back into the mid 2200s. Going to the weekly, we talked about the one-time framing being broken 2 weeks ago, and then we were talking about the coming down and challenging the trend on the weekly, and you can see that we're now below the 9, coming down. A move down to the 20 SMA is going to take us into the 2200s, possibly the lower 2300s, depending on where it happens, but I'm thinking it'll probably be into a dip into the 22.95 area. Right now it's sitting at 22.91. But the key point is the trend itself is being challenged on the weekly. So we're seeing some weakness coming in. On the daily, you can see that we have rolled over. We had that strong move up. We had the blow-off day. They put in the all-time high, put in the inside day, Mr. Sneaky, creating the technical gap, come down, close the technical gap. They tried to hold the 20 and then they failed last week. And now we've got the start of a downward trend on the daily. We don't start to challenge the trend to the upside now on the daily until 23.47. Going to the intraday, you can see that we had the strong trend down. They tried to take it back, consolidation, then failure. Now we're seeing the continuation pattern. We do have a possible FUBAR Mr. Sneaky set up here, but this is on the 4 hour, so we have to wait for this to form. A move back to close the technical gap will take us up into the 23.33 area. I'm sorry, the 23.33 area. Going to the 1 hour, you can see that very strong trend in the Globex overnight. We tried to get back above the 9. We're failing again. We're getting continuation. We're going to have a large gap, and we're going to have to pay very close attention to this gap because it's not likely going to get filled with the size of the gap that we've got based on statistical historical statistics. On the 30-minute, we have had a downward trend. They've come back and we're getting consolidation, but we're failing to hold above the 9 and the 20. So again, seeing weakness coming into the market. And then on the 15-minute, we had a beautiful FUBAR Mr. Sneaky technical gap on that move down to 17. I closed my my short last night out at 19. That was my primary target. So I really don't have to trade today. Between my gold long last night and my ES short, I've basically completed my day. What we do have right now is we have a symmetrical triangle setting up here. So watch for the breaks. Break below the 23 should bring us back down into that 29 area. And last but not least, let's just take a look at the 5-minute. 5-minute, you can see that we've got failure again, and we've got continuation of the trend to the downside. So what does that look like on the big picture? So here we are. Okay, we fell out of this balance. The last price they tried to hold was the 59.25, and we had the breakout day on Tuesday. Okay, and we were targeting that 38 area, the 3-day balance on the move up, the price discovery up. We came down. We found some buyers there. They rotated it back up into the 56. But they were unable to get back inside and hold in the value area of that balance zone that went from the 21st of February through to the breakout day on Tuesday. So they failed to get back into value. They came back down. They'd been chopping around. We talked about this double distribution zone between the 39 and the 45. It's now got a triple distribution zone. There's another CHVN right here at 39.50. So we have undetermined fair value in this distribution zone between 45, 41.25 and 39.50. We're currently we've fallen out of that value, and we've come down to our next big destination that we talked about. You can go back and review all the go-to videos. We talked about the fact that if we didn't bounce from the 38 and we got the low at the time was the 36 and 32, that we're likely making a bigger move down through this thin area, down into the 19. What do? They do it in the Globex on a Sunday night. That's classic as a start of a possible bigger move. But let me warn you of one thing. We're going to have 100% net short, okay, coming into this RTH. The overnight inventory is 100% net short. So they're going to likely squeeze early those shorts to get rid of the weak hands. So watch this 26 area. If we get above the 26, I'd be thinking that we could see a move up into the 33, 34 area. But if we fail to get above 36, look for them to balance out down here early on around the 19. The key line in the sand below now becomes 1275. Below 1275, you're looking for the 0975, but the next big destination down now is the last accepted price before we went into price discovery. Okay, and just to put this into context, we had this long consolidation and balance, okay, accepting that price around the 2262 and a quarter. Then we broke out, created the island top, tried to hold value, accept value higher at 86 and a quarter. They could not. They came back down. Where did they come to? They come to the last price that they accepted value before the breakout. They bounce from there. They accept value higher outside of the value area, so they're accepting value higher. Then they gap up, reaccept that price around the 86 area, and then they go into price discovery. Gap, gap, gap. 2-day balance, move up. 3-day balance, okay, at the 38 and a quarter. They've broken that balance, and now we're going to gap down, and we come down, and we so far have picked up buyers at the 19 area. That would be natural because that was the last area that they accepted price before the move up, and now we've moved below. We did not find inventory, okay, overnight in the 32 area, so they're continuing the price discovery down. They did this so down to the 19. Now they found some. The key is to get back above the 26. If we get above the 26, look for them to come on. We've got to take a look at the gap zone, so let's do that. So just moving our numbers over, our overnight high is 37.75. Our overnight low is 17.75. Our range low, okay, is 31.75 from Friday. If we open up, and it's early, so we could open up, so this is approximates, okay, so don't hold me to this exactly. We'll have to adjust this once we open. But if we open right here around, I'm just going to use 23.50. Our half range gap is 27.75. And our close for the week and for Friday was 23.44.75, and if we open up right here around 23.75, our half gap fill. Oh, why did that not work? 44.75, 23. We'll use 23.50. Our half gap fill is going to be 34 and a quarter, which is just below our upside daily ATR. And again, this could change. What's the difference in the gap fill? Simply, one is against the close, one is against the range. I always work the range gap first, okay, and worry about the gap against the close separately. Now, here's the thing. We are way, way below the close gap. So based on statistical probability, there's less than a 5% probability that we'll actually come up into the 44s today. And we're going to have roughly a 10% 10 to 11 point gap. So there's only about a 62% probability that we close the range gap. If we do not get up and close this gap within the first 2 hours, okay, I will not be looking long. I will only be trading short, okay, because of the fact that it becomes less less likely that that range gap is going to get closed. Now, of course, anytime we open up below a range, we have to consider the possibility of having a gap and go day and looking for an open test drive or an open drive, okay, to continue the price discovery down. Now, a couple things. One is we found balance around 24. So our overnight VPOC, okay, is not likely going to shift. It's going to be 24 or thereabouts. We still have 25 minutes to go, and there's an LVN here at the 35.50. I'm going to be paying attention to the 37 because it's crap. Hold on one second. I just gotta. Gold's making a move here. Just moving a stop here. Just locking in some profit. Okay, so let's talk about levels. So we don't need this. We have a naked VPOC from the Globex session down here at 12. So I'm going to adjust this 1275 down to 12. We have no other information I need there, so I can get rid of that. Expand this out. Our key line in the sand is going to be the 12 now. What does that mean? That means that simply that if we get below the key line in the sand, I'm looking for a bigger move and a trend day down. Right now, our daily ATR, our 20-period full session daily ATR is 1675. So off of the overnight high of 37.50, our daily downside target has already been breached. And that's important when we're coming into a gap and go day because it's showing the high possibility that we could get continuation trend down because we've already done a full range, okay, of the 20-period average true range. Off of the low overnight of 1775, our daily upside ATR target is at 34.50. So it shows and it reinforces the low probability of getting back up into the 44s. That's not to say that we can't come up and test the overnight high, but that is not a likelihood. You're more likely to see the overnight low get taken out, especially if we reject the range from the prior day. So, of course, the prior day range is also the weekly low from last week. That's going to be a trade level for me. 37s are going to be a trade level for me, looking to get above that 37 and make a move up into this distribution zone. If we get back into this distribution zone, then the rest of the day I'm looking for chop around the three undetermined fair values, and I would expect us to come up into this range and just chop around between 39 and 45. Okay, so there's no real targets up here other than those three targets: 39.50, the 41.25, and the 45. And there's no way for me to, there's nothing up here I can lean against. So I'm looking for just chop in this area. That's if we get there. Now, let's take a look at the downside. To the downside, we've got the 1975 as our support right now. There's not much. We have the gap zone, okay, between the 1575 and the what's the high on this day? The 1275. So this area, I'm just, there's no way for me to do this easily, so I'm just going to do it like this. Just to show the gap. I've got it on my flex chart, but you guys don't see my flex chart. This area, okay, is a gap zone. The mid of this gap zone, in fact, you know what, I'm just going to do that like that. I'm going to go to the mid of the gap. So the low, okay, is, sorry, wrong gap. The low is 1550 and the high is 1275. The mid of the gap is 14. Just delete this line. So if we get into the gap zone, I'm looking for this mid to get tested. So I'll be looking at that 1550 or 1575 as a trade level. And then there's really not much down. We've got the 1203 and a quarter and the 1201. This is, you know, below the 0975. This is the next destination. Now, very important to recognize that the 1975 is still naked, even though we hit it in the overnight. So this remains a naked VPOC until we hit it in the Globex. So my main hypothesis is a open auction out of range, a move up to test the, to squeeze some of the shorts, test the 26s, possibly even come up into the half gap of the range gap, and then somewhere in the 27 to 29 area, possibly even up into the 30s, but I'll start looking for failure between 26 and 29, and then a rotation down towards the 1975, chop in this area, then push through, take out the overnight low, and then continue down into the mid gap and close somewhere down here between the 1275 and the 1775. So that's my hypo 1. Hypo 2 is an open auction, I'm sorry, an open test drive, an open drive, and basically a gap and go. Failure to get back above 26 or 27, 29 area, and again, a move down, but this one, a stronger move down and a trend day down, okay, down to target the 0975, chop around in the 0975 and push through and close somewhere in the single digits of the 2300s. Okay, and close down here as a gap and go day. Possibly even dip into the 22s. And the 22, the target in the first target in the 22s is 22.95 and a quarter. All right, hypo 3 is an open auction, out of range, a push down, a takeout of the overnight low, a finding responsive buyers down here, and then rotating us back up towards the gap, and a come up and close the gap, okay, and fight the range from Friday low. Maybe even a poke up into the 35, 34 area. Hypo 4 is an open auction out of range, failure to get below the 1575, and then a strong move back and a take back day, and a move all the way back into this distribution zone, and then chop around, okay, in the 39 to 45 area into the close. And those are my 4 main hypotheses. Going to gold. Gold has now hit our target. Remember what our target was, 1257.90. We've come up and we've hit that target, okay, in the Globex. So we continue our price discovery. Now expect them to chop around in this distribution zone. The resistance is at 1260.70. We've hit it to the tick so far. And rejected. We're trading 1259.50 right now. If we get above the value area, Look for them to push through to the other side of this distribution up here into the 1263.70. Not expecting gold to make much more of a move today. Looking for more of a rotational day around the 57.90. Key line to keep an eye on is the 53.25. If we get below the 53.25, look for them to come back into the 49.50 area. It's pretty simple on gold. Gold made the move overnight. We're back in price discovery, but we made a strong move. The low overnight was 45.50, and Peter and I both got long and wrote it. I wrote it all the way to 57. I'm not sure where Peter got out, but we're up here and we're liable to just chop around. It's a pretty big range. What's the range for the night? 60, 70 minus 45. What was the low? The low was 45.50. So we've already had a $15.20 move overnight in gold. Anyway, that's going to complete our pre-market session. I'm going to go ahead and close this room down and open up the trade room for the RTH session. As always, trade well, trade safe, and we'll catch you on the flip side.